Hello and welcome back to Strongwoman High's Life is a Mishmash. Today we have a very special guest joining us. We have Kirsty Robothan-Smith. I don't think I've absolutely atrocitized that name there. I hope not. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's Robothan, but I go by Robo-Smith and because it's
Robothan.
RoboCop and all that kind of stuff. So we'll just go with Robo-Smith. It's much easier. It just means when I order a Chinese or a taxi, it's usually mine because no one else has that kind of surname. So
absolutely, mate. I get it all the time with Morgan. The amount of times I have to spell my last name is awful. Like people just don't get it, but. Anyway,
and I refused to get rid of it when I got married, so that's why I'm Dash Smith, so I didn't want to get rid of my maiden name. So we both changed, so me and my husband both have that surname, so we went modern and changed it rather than going down. So he decided to take it on, which I think is quite a cool thing as well.
That is really cool. Oh, I'm going to tell my husband about that because I was like, I don't want to lose Morgan, it's too cool. Like, where have you ever heard that? So I took Morgan Potter. And he's just kept Potter, but I might be like, here.
Put them together. It's unique. I do always count when we have kids, though. If they double barrel, we'll end up with some name that probably sounds like Baron something or other. But you never know. Dream big, innit?
Deal with that when it comes to it. They're future problems.
Yeah.
But,
thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Thanks for being on. So, do you want to give a brief introduction, little elevator pitch of who you are, what you're all about for the pod?
Okay, so I'm Kirsty. I'm a little strong woman, so I'm one of the little lightweight ones, and I'm tiny in every way that I'm only about 1.5 meters tall as well, so I'm absolute midget and absolute tiny. I started doing Strongwoman probably like a year, January ago, and I decided to go in at the deep end and do both Natty Wales and OSG Wales as my first two comps, because why not? I never had the beginner vibe, and I think you've had Sam on before who said, yeah, I just jumped in because I thought that was fine, and then I'm like, oh, it's kind of been a bit of a whirlwind. In 18 months, I've done 2 Brits as well, because I came third in the first OSG and got to go to Brits in the November, and then come second this year in Wales. So I'm the second lightweight OSG untested. I am a natty athlete though, but I just happen to do both because and I did used to do weightlifting, so it's only this year that I've gone into Strongwoman more full time. So I used to hybrid, and actually in January I did an Olympic weightlifting competition, and then the Feb did the Nat. So I was like competing every month at one point. So how I'm here, I don't know. Pulled a train in the February as well, straight at like literally 2 days before Natty Wales. I was up in North Wales doing a world record attempt, and then went to weigh in the next day, and then I competed the day after. So I don't know how I'm here. I have really good recovery, that's all I can say, I think. Although my bicep was bruised massively, and how I got through that comp, I still don't know. And that's right when I did my first Opens comp this year as well. So within 18 months, I've gone from doing that to doing Cardiff Opens, and I didn't come last in every event. So that's which I'm really proud about. So that's little old me who's not even a sporty person by background. I'm a massive nerd. Work for the NHS, do digital and maths. I only got into anything strength related kind of COVID when I lost a load of weight. So I used to weigh 96 kilos at my peak. Wow. So I used to be a very big girl, and I've always been a very big, I would say clinically obese is what it would be called. I didn't do sport at school. I hated it. It was, I'd sit in front of a computer programming, doing numbers. I was not a sport. I did want to do football when I was really young in the 90s, but again, girls didn't really do it back then. And strength, again, wasn't a girl thing. And I wish someone had just given me a barbell. It would be quite funny if my games teacher saw me now, because they'd probably go, what, you went to Brits? You were the person who was like, probably smoking and drinking, and like I said, I was about a size 18, I think, to my peaks in terms of women's clothes. And then in COVID, I got put into like the emergency response stuff in the NHS because I'm one of the managers in terms of Public Health Wales, and it really opened my eyes. So I was there for like the first couple of cases and that kind of thing. And some of the things I saw were pretty horrific in the first couple of weeks. And I just thought, if I don't change my lifestyle and look after myself, I may go on a ventilator and never come off it, or I might die. Like, it genuinely scared me that much.
Yeah.
And I had some weights at home, started lifting some weights in my garden and doing little squats. And I only had like, I think 50 kilos was the maximum I had. And it was all like pressing and everything else. And I just lost the weight, and I'm now down I literally float at about 60 kilos now, so that's my floating weight, and I bulked a bit and go down, but I'm like a size 6 in clothes. I can fit in kids' clothes, that's how small I am generally. And I'm size 2.5 feet, so it's really cheap to go shopping with me.
Oh my God,
Um,
two and a
so
half.
yeah, so to get weightlifting shoes, I usually buy the shoes kids sell off because they've outgrown them. So it's a bargain. So all I can say is being small does have its. I was going to say certain events are not in my favour. Let's just clarify.
No.
But that's part of the fun. I don't mind having a stone that's like the size of my, like most sandbags are like half of me, so it's quite funny.
Yeah.
It's quite comical to watch, but I do like to dress up and do the girly thing when I compete and stuff. So you'll see me in like bunches and looking a bit Harley Quinn slash, if you watch wrestling, like Alexa Bliss, and then I paint my face and I like to come out, have a bit of fun, do a bit of a dance, get the crowd going. I like the circus element of the
Yeah.
strongman. So that's what I felt. That's how you kind of fall in love with it. These exceptional women who just were these personas, if you will. And the same with the men, in the kind of funny outfits, lifting weird stuff.
Yeah.
And that's me really. So I'm a bit of a daft idiot who tries and like train really hard. I'd really try, I promise, but I like to have a bit of fun. So
No, that's awesome. That's the best elevator pitch I've ever heard. I'm like, employer for what? I don't know, but employer.
And so yeah, I'm a massive advocate for I suppose being a woman in sport and in a particularly male dominated sport. Like I said, it's changing. And also that anyone should feel the way that they want to look and feel however they kind of identify. And I'm all for, I like to put the bit of makeup on and everything else, and no one should be excluded for that. If you don't want to, if you want to have short, crazy hair, pink hair, brown hair, different demographics, whatever, sexuality, whatever it is, I think that's the beauty of it. You've probably seen the background. I got the kissing policeman. So I'm a big advocate for trying to get anyone and everyone just to give it a go, because I think you can be surprised. Like I said, I got to try and pull a train this year, which I actually pulled it in very wet Snowdonia. But I'd like to be that woman in the care home that has dementia who goes, I pulled a train, and everyone thinks I'm lying, and then I pull the phone out and go, yeah, and wait till I pull my mobility scooter. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be there 80 with the bit of a rope pulling it and being like, I still got it. So, yeah, that's my goal.
Hell yeah. No, I absolutely love that. Well, going back to how you lost the weight then, how did you find that journey? Was it like fast? Was it like a struggle? I know obviously the catalyst to it was COVID, but how did you get to that point?
I think I was really lucky with COVID because a lot of distractions got taken away. So where I was a bit of a party girl, like at uni, like it wasn't uncommon that I could get through like a bottle of wine in about halfway through a rugby match and then drink another one and end up like in a fountain at 5 o'clock. I was that kind of, I could turn up to lectures in my pajamas after literally coming in at 5 a.m. with a cup of tea and being like, I'm good, like this is fine. So yeah, I did not live how my liver's here. I do not know, but we're going to go with it. So a lot of that distraction, I just, in COVID, there wasn't the socialization. So so the alcohol went kind of thing. Not that I'm an alcoholic or changed it, but there was just no need. I wasn't partying. I wasn't going out.
Yeah.
I ended up just kind of, it was giving me something to focus on in COVID. Like I said, although I was working, I worked like 6 days a week still. It was kind of wild what I had to get involved in, but it was, focus it, you didn't go out to just buy treats and stuff. You had just what was in the house. You kind of did it. And I got into like loads of podcasts about like tracking, and about being flexible and about the weight training. And I really liked the weight training because it wasn't running and all that. So, and I live in Wales, so I kind of live on the side of a mountain. So poor Sam, bless her, she always says to me, like, you need to rest more. And I'm like, literally, if I leave my house, I'm on a mountain. So I'm either going up or down. Like, I'm on a mountain. I can't like walk on the flat very well. Like, that's kind of where I am. So in COVID, that's kind of how it was, really. It kind of, everything kind of come together. And in some ways, I didn't realise how much I lost. So this just started as like lose a bit of weight to get a bit healthier. And I thought, I'll lose a stone. And then it was about the September when we were all like let loose again. It was like the summer, wasn't it? We were like, oh, you're allowed to go out and be people. And I'm like, okay. And we went up to Snowdonia walking and I didn't have any clothes and it didn't fit. And I was like, oh, and I was like, okay. And I had all these leggings and jumpers. I mean, they're working. So just went in whatever. And I was like, I need to get clothes. And then when I ordered like, I think it was like a size 12 at that point. They come in, I put them on. I went, no, these are too big and all. I'm like, I don't know what I have. I don't know what to do. And so, yeah, it was really straight. Like, I almost, because you see it every day, honest, and I'll be really honest, even now, my brain, so I do talk about, and if people look at my Instagram and stuff, I do talk about my mental health, that I really struggle with it because I, to see myself objectively, I still see myself sometimes as the girl that was, and it's really hard that it's really strange. You can look in the mirror and go, I'm still her, and I'm not. And sometimes I say take a picture and cover my face and almost be like, look at the body. It's not, you're not seeing what your brain's telling you.
Yeah.
Probably not, I've never been diagnosed with having body dysmorphia, but I do think that element of you doesn't go away, and your feelings and everything with that, especially with hormones. Like if I get a bit like bloated, I'm like, oh, I'm back to being that girl again and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's one of those weird things I didn't, and then it was like doing clothes, and then it just kind of kept happening. And then I wanted to believe, I suppose, that I could maintain it. And then in COVID, it made me go, just say yes to everything. So I went and learned to Olympic weightlift. I went axing, I went climbing, I went mountain, I went wild swimming. I decided to do a load of stuff because I thought life's too short. Like we nearly just had 2 years of carnage. And like I said, the stuff I'd seen in work, I did go through therapy for a lot of it because you do see some horrific stuff. And yeah, and then I ended up kind of keeping going with it. So I competed in Olympic weight. I did it for a year, and then my coach for that said, when you have a go at competing in that, I went, oh yeah, whatever, do that. Put a singlet on, give that a crack, me as well. So did that, and then saw the Strongwoman one, and that was drunk though. This is the part, I did do the Strongwoman one drunk. So on the November, I saw it on Facebook for Wales Strongest Woman, because I'd watched I didn't realise there was weight classes, to be honest. I always thought you had to be this really kind of big kind of athlete. You see the men, they're huge. The open athletes, relative to me, they're huge. They're not really big girls, but what I mean is like me stood next to him is comical, right? I look like they brought the child with them. It's quite funny. Like at Brits, I think I stood next to Donna, which is like also trying not to be like absolute fangirl, and I'm stood there going, I look like she's brought a child from daycare. God love it, because I'm so small. I'm like, oh, and she's so lovely. And yeah, so in that November, saw Wales Strongest Woman. I was like, oh, I'll give that a crack. And it was like a 120 axle deadlift, pull a truck, all these things. I thought, oh, that'd be good to have a crack at. There was a log, and there was like all the traditional stuff that you kind of do. So on this drunk, I'd had a couple of glasses of wine. I was like, I'll sign up to that. Yeah, fine, signed up to it. And then Sam and Sue messaged me back on Facebook and was like, oh, do you want to come down the gym and have a go? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And then I got all fangirl with Sam on Facebook. And I was like, oh, is this Sam Taylor? And I totally embarrassed myself. So I was drunk as anything after like a full bottle of wine at that point, because it was like the November. And I think, yeah, I went down there in the December before last January. So December, what are we on now? 25, 24. So it would have been December 23, just to look at kit. I thought, oh, I'll go down Aberdeen, have a look. And they put a log in front of me, picked up a deadlift, and then they said, oh, do you want to have a go at a stone? And I was like, oh, I don't know whether, I want to try and get to that. And then I think I did a 67 kilo stone over a 44. I was shocked at it. And it was because they said, well, why? I was trying to pick it up, and they said, right, have you got tacky? And I was like, obviously not. Didn't know what tacky was. Yeah. I was like, I have a belt. And they were like, no, that's not what we're talking about, bro. Do my proper deadlift belt. I had my weightlifting Velcro belts. I didn't even know about proper belts, anything. They were like, do you use straps? And I was like, well, no, I hook grip. I'm a weightlifter. I pull the weightlift. I don't know what thing. And I was like, I have these. And they were like, yeah, no, that's kind of thing. But anyway, so they put the tack, and then they said, right, you put the tack on, you do, and they're like, do this with it, and I was making it into and I was like, what am I doing? And then they said, pick it up, so I picked it up, and then got it the first time I got it to my lap, and I was like, oh, bloody hell, that's pretty good, isn't it? And I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what to do now. And they said, right, put it back down, and I was like, right, and they was like, right, what you're going to do is when you get to this, get around it, go up. First time I got to it, and literally slammed into this thing, and I was like, oh god, I've broke everything. They're like, you can't break anything, be fine. And it was the third attempt then, and literally if you watch the video, I'm like, oh, and honestly it's quite comical because this platform's at this height, it feels like, on it, and it went over, and I was like, what
have I just done?
And kind of thing, and and then that was it. And then I kind of, the January, I was still training for weightlifting. So I used to go up on a Saturday and just do an event stay up there. So I ended up doing like part with Chloe at the time, so Chloe Brennan. She was doing a bit of my kind of thing, because I'd had a lesson with her on an axle because she did the weightlifting. So to help me kind of transition and how I could do certain things and learn certain bits. And yeah, so and that's how I ended up competing. I thought I'll do the natty one as a warm-up. That nearly killed me, because it turns out doing 5 events in a day is really hard when you don't condition yourself.
And you've never trained for it, yeah.
No, like my weightlifting cons are like an hour, and it's 2 lifts, like 6 lifts in total. I'm out there for a maximum of a minute, right? And then it's like boom, boom, done, right? And I'm sat there guzzling sweets, thinking like, oh yeah, I'm really cool. 5-6 hours, I was dead. I was like, I for a week, they were like, how are you feeling for the next comp? I was like, I don't even know if I'll make it to the next comp.
Yeah.
My back and everything. I was like, I'm dead after so this natty warm-up one, which I come 3rd in that one, and I was like, all right, okay, and like finished it. And I was, but like I said, I was on death's door for a week, so fair play. And then it was the next one then when I did like the one I planned to do, if you will, and then it was amazing. So it was outdoor. Had this big American truck, a 9-ton truck, and I had to pull it, and I did pull it, and honestly, I looked like little ant, like, you know, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yeah.
Like someone's like put this massive truck behind me, and then like, ooh, what'd she do? Like, what's this kind of thing? So and I actually won the log event. I actually won an event, and I was like, and I cried. I cried at winning the event, because I didn't think I'd win any, like, I'm not, like I said, I do this to compete, but I'm not competitive. Like I said, I was always the fat kid, so I was just glad to be there. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy to be there. And at the end of it, they were like, won the log event? And I just started crying. They were like, what are you crying for? And I was like, because I won something.
Class though. What a come up story that is. It's class. It's absolutely mint. I love it.
And then, yeah, I went to, and it was a couple of months later, so I was going back to weightlifting different bits, and then Sam went to me, she was like, they're going to invite you to Brits in November. And I was like, what? And I was like, I don't forget, I did that on a drunken woman. She's like, well, give it a go. And then it turned up, and I was like, I failed 4 events. Let's just clarify. Most Brits I go to, I fail most of the events.
Doesn't matter. So you've got to do it sometimes. You've got to do it sometimes.
Yeah, it's what Sam mentioned in the other podcast. And she actually I'm the Kirsty she mentioned in that podcast. So unfortunately, hi, Sam. But she was right. She was like, she's always said to me, just go and give it a go. And like, you'll be surprised what you learn. And honestly, I can't vouch for that enough. Like, that deadlift didn't move on that day. It was like 170 with the deadlift bar. I'd only pulled like 130, 140. I think 147 was my PB then at that Christmas. So let's be frank, I was way off. And I didn't have a suit. So I seen all these people putting suits on, and they were like, putting a suit on. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I think I literally about 3 weeks ago I put a suit on, and like I've actually started trying to learn how to use a suit, because again I've always just done it without. The log, I was like, oh, the log, here we go. I cleaned it, and honestly, the most comical video, if you go back on OSG, it's me getting it to here, and like I'm shocked I got the clean, because it was a 65, and I was like, oh right, got it, okay. So I was like, right, I just got to really punch it and go for it. Great. Dip, drive, threw it over the back of my head and nearly killed everyone. I was like, brilliant, great. And bless them, the people helping were like, we'll give you the log back. I was like, cracking. I did 3 cleans. That was a PB. I'm going with a clean PB.
Absolutely.
Did 3 cleans and was like, that'll do. The only thing I completed that day was the Dinny Stones, and because I can hook grip. So it turns out I'm very good at just powering through. But you know, normal strength kind of thing. So yeah, and that's kind of where it's been really. And I seem to have a reputation of PBing in the back room and not necessarily on the floor. So maybe one day I'll get to Brits and PB out in front of everyone, so I won't feel like such an imposter.
Hell yeah. Well, it's just about building up, isn't it? Like, in your first year of competing, like, to get to Brits in itself is just fucking class, isn't it? So,
exactly.
And to take that opportunity, like, I've done that. I went to Worlds in 2022, OSG Worlds, and I zeroed 4 out of 5 events, and I had a fucking whale of a time. Like, It was great fun. I had a fucking class time. I didn't even warm up for the deadlift because I knew it was so out of reach. I was like, fuck it. I'll go out and just pretend it'll be all right.
Turned up my bag. I went and had a free massage at the end because everyone else was still going. I was the first out every time because obviously I was just failing everything. And then I sent the physio. I was like, oh, at the end of the final event, which I'll be out in 2 seconds because let's be frank, I'm not getting that sandbag to shoulder either. It's like, can I come and have a massage? So everyone's going in for their thing. I'm just led on the bed having a free massage.
Just
I'm like,
enjoying
get your
yourself. As
perks
you
out.
fucking should do, yeah. I love that.
And a nice Indian at the end of it in Birmingham. It was great. I was going around all the stores shopping. I was eating all the cake. I was like, I deserved the cake even though I failed. Clearly I've not worked for this, but hey ho. So it was really good fun. So, and that's what I say to anyone, like, you know, like I said, that's on telly for everyone to see, so everyone can watch that disaster on OSGs. But I always say to anyone, just give it a go. Just give it a go. Like,
100%.
You never know what's going to happen.
100%. I love that. No, it's class that. Right, well, let's get into it then. So what's been your strong woman high?
Probably all of that, to be honest. We probably got into it a bit too early.
No, that's fine. Well, to be fair, we have spoken fairly well about that strong woman high. What would you say is your like pinnacle moment? What's been your favourite moment so far in your strong woman career?
It's gonna be. This is really, really. So this is to get not really emotional, but so at Wales this year, I went for a 150 deadlift, and 150 had eluded me since. Like I wanted 150 at Christmas, got to 147.5, couldn't get it. I think I tried again in like the January again, thinking I got this, wouldn't budge again. I was like, oh. So anyway, was going through, got to Wales, and was like, right, that's the fight. It was like a 2 ladder, so a Trump bar, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I was like, right, I'm gonna warm up. Got to like I got 140 in the warm up. Went right. I'm just gonna see what happens. Go. Pulled it, it went, and I was like, yeah. And literally, there's a lovely video of me at the top going, yeah, and like they're going down. And I'm like, okay, I was so shocked by it, and I was like, they were like, you still got time. And it went again, and I was like, yeah! And literally every rep is me just at the top shouting, yes, right? Because I'm there going, I don't know what's going on here, right? And so 2, 3rd rep, 4th rep, and I'm like, still going. 5th, I got to 5th rep, and I'm just stood locked out, and I was like, yeah! And they were like, down anyway. So the crowd went wild, it was lovely. But the moment, the reason I'm saying it is because at the end, Sam ran over and picked me up. So Sam is my coach, and literally just come over, and we're both kind of crying. And my poor husband in the background also kind of coming in and hugging me. My dad's there, everything. So I think my strong woman high is just that moment where you get like that PB, like an almost like an out, such a kind of crazy PB on this stiff bar that like, and they said I did that raw. There wasn't a suit. You were allowed suits, but didn't wear a suit. I just strapped and went. And it was just that kind of madness of it. And I think that's the high generally of like that moment when, so I did my axle, which was, I'd done in training like 68 for 2, but on the day did 65 for my maxle, if you will, at that point. Because again, I come from weightlifting. So I'll be honest with you, whenever I talk about axle, it's way different to like the rest of my list because I've got the experience. And, it's one of those things that, yeah, that is what is those moments. And it was just that there's a great video of Sam just holding me, and obviously Sam being this incredible legend that she is in terms of strongwoman and like Wales strongwoman, everything. She was competing in the Opens, and she's just holding me, and there's just a really great picture. So that was my high of that. And I suppose my other high was at my first Brit. So this is another one which was adorable. Was a little girl come up to me and said, and I'd failed, like you said, 4 events at this point. But let's be frank, I wasn't, not in the realms of like what people were doing. And this little girl come up to me, and she couldn't have been more than about 7, 8, like no more. And she went, the thing is, you're little like me, so maybe I can do something like that. Oh, that was it. I'm done. I'm not the most maternal of people, but it was almost like, that's what I would love to have and show. And if anyone looks at me and goes, oh, do you know what? The one that looks so little and doesn't look like they could do it, can do it. And like I said, I was the fat kid. And if you go on my Instagram, there's a video of me in what was my bikini when I was at my peak weight, which I put on there to kind of say that anyone can do this. I was never athletic before. It was never any of those things. And I just went and give it a go. And that little girl is the bit that, if I could do that for anyone, that someone just goes, I can believe I can have a go at it. That's why I want to do this for as long as I can. And that's why now I do it because I just want people to go, oh, the women can do it, or the girl can
Yeah.
do it, or the nerd can do it, because that's what I'm a massive nerd. So yeah, that's why.
Class, yeah, I love that, and I think it's super important as well because, like you said, like if you as that kid had been able to see you now, you'd be like, "Fuck, there's my like opportunity. That's what I needed." Like, and I feel very much the same. Like, if when I was at school, like if I'd seen this sport, I would have been like, "Yes, that's a bit of me." Like,
100%.
get me into it. Like, and I feel like it would have made my transition through childhood and teenage years much smoother.
So much easier, yeah, and much more accepting of myself. I'm so self-critical. Like I said, I still have all the mental health issues that come with a lot of stuff, and you work through that. But when you realize what your body's capable of, like, I go wild swimming now, and I wear a bikini, and I'm not saying I have the greatest body. Like, the amount of excess skin I have, like from being very big. I'm not here being a Sports Illustrated model. Let's just clarify, but I feel so much more confident because I know what my body can do.
Yeah,
It does what it does, and it's incredible. Like I said, if anyone ever said anything, I'd be like, well, you pull a 9-ton truck and then come and tell me that something's wrong with my body. Do you know what I mean? Like, I got quads for days because it turns out I'm all quad dominant. So
yeah.
got quads, like, I'm trying to get as wide as I am tall, which, not being funny, at 1.5 meters is not very hard to do because it turns out I'm like, it's fine, I haven't got long to go, it's all good. Trying to be a tank is what I'm trying to do. But yeah, it's one of those things that like I said, and representation is so key,
Mhm.
whether it's from, like I said, I'm pansexual. Although I'm married to a man, so I get a lot of kind of privilege that people go, oh, well, you're a white woman, you're straight, and everyone think, and all that kind of stuff. And I think I want to talk about all of those things because I think all that representation means someone goes, oh, I could probably do something like that. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I think that's representation is so important, regardless of skin color, background, religion, where you're from, how this all started, what body shape you are, and all of those things. If we can show that, and that's the
yeah,
beauty of Strong Woman, all the categories shows every kind of type of woman.
yeah.
What, come and join the party.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's this as a sport, it is the most inclusive sport I think I've ever been in. Like,
Yeah,
and that's why I think it draws so many people into it, and it overtakes everything because you've got the community, you've got your support, you've got people who just accept you for what you are. Like, they don't give a flying fuck what you look like. They just
yeah,
care about whether you're like happy and you're enjoying the sport and you're doing well in your lifts and stuff like that. And I think that's why people stick in it for so long as well a lot of the time, because you find like it's like finding just a community of people that are all the same and you're all like-minded and you're like, oh fucking hell, this is great. Everyone's so
you
nice
you
here.
get you get when I'm stuffing sweets and I'm in like third breakfast like a hobbit. Like, you get it why I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the point.
100%. And I think it's the acceptance as well of like being able to eat and being able to be any size as well. Like,
Yeah.
that's not common in sport, not common at
No.
all. And I think this is one very special sport where everyone is eating, everyone is like, you need to eat, you need to do this, you need to fuel your body for this. And if you're 130 kilos, you're getting the same respect as someone who's 60 kilos. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
like, because you're both capable of similar things. Like, you're both capable of like doing these lifts. So it doesn't matter whether you're overweight or you're a bit heavier than everyone else. Great, it's probably going to be a benefit to you.
Yeah. If anything, and I completely agree. And it's one of those things that, and like you said, in a lot of sports, it's not the case, and it's still got this. What I want to say is everyone and everything is beautiful, and that's the beauty of it. Like, when that barbell is at your locked out position of a deadlift or above your head, everyone is just as beautiful as each other doing it.
Yeah,
That's the greatness of it. And I just I stand there all the time just going, wow, I'm in a group of women that are lifting like their body weight above their head or more than their body weight or whatever, and it's nuts. And I'm thinking, like, this is great. And people used to say to women, 50 years ago, oh, you'd never be able to do that. Watch me now.
yeah, exactly. We've spoke about it loads on the podcast. It's the whole thing of being years and years of being told not to take up space and not to be that person, not to be overconfident. You get into this sport and everyone's like, no, fuck that. Take up as much space as possible. And we're all like, yeah!
I'm trying to get bigger and take up more space. That's the goal.
100%. Yeah, I fucking love that.
So,
Right, well,
yeah.
let's ruin the good mood then. Let's ruin the
Yeah.
good mood and go on to your strong woman lows, shall we?
So I suppose there's for me, I talk about, like I said, my mental kind of health, and I suppose which isn't from Strongwoman per se, but I suppose I'm just being open and honest that it it doesn't go away is what I try and say. Like I do everything to battle against it. And don't get me wrong, I get, although I eat and everything else, it's not to get mixed up that sometimes I'm sat there going, oh my God, I've had too much. And all the things that like have been conditioned into you. And for me, it's the lower, I suppose, of the mental capacity that takes up, right? Because it's just always going to be there. And I think it's the nature of being a woman in a particular era I grew up with. So I'm 35, I grew up in the 90s. You were meant to be stick thin, snorting cocaine, not for performance purposes, but in order to stay thin, like the Kate Moss vibe, right? Which is a very different vibe. If I was taking cocaine and lifting things, let's just clarify, every one of those bars would be like, woo, it'd be like, great, right? It'd be, I've got enough energy as it is. Can you imagine that on that and a Red Bull? Jesus, right? It'd be, how many reps are you doing? I'm still going. The time's gone. Don't worry. She's still here. She's going 3 weeks later. I think she's not right. So, I come from that time, like I said, when, gosh, I remember like the Spice Girls being told they were fat, and you're like, what? Like, you look at, do you know what I mean? And like, you watch Love Actually, where Martine McCutcheon, wasn't it? It was like, oh, my boyfriend told me I was fat. What? Yeah. I grew up in that era where someone normal size was told. Like, so your brain's always contending with that like mental capacity. And I think for me, it's not a low from Strongwoman, but it's a low that I think a lot of women have to contend with, and a lot of us athletes contend with, and fighting sometimes that, because we don't know what our bodies will turn into, regardless of whether you take anything or not take anything. Again, I have, but I suppose if I was going to make it a strong woman low, for it being such an inviting community, in the 18 months that I've been involved, I want to say some of the politics, but here we go. Hear me out. I'm going to word this nicely. There is some judgment that is very clear, particularly in the online space. But I think what happens is it doesn't help that I think society is mirroring that. So I think there's elements of, there's an unfortunate problem in society generally about judgment and things. So I think this is just, it's not a strong woman specific problem. This is a society problem. But whether people take things or not, whether people have an advantage from doing something else, whether you're tall, small, whatever it is, like, oh, but you're small so you can do a Zercher event easier, or you're tall so you can do stones, and everyone has this sometimes a bit of a, I want to say bitchy judgment vibe, or you're taking something or you're not. And at the end of the day, women, we have enough problems with people telling us shit all the time, right, about what we can and can't do. So let everyone else have the argument and let us do what we need to do. And I think sometimes to me, I worry that some of that creeps in, that that judgment can put people off, or, oh, you don't look like that, or whatever, or you take something so you shouldn't matter, or da-da-da-da-da-da, or you don't, and I'm natty and I'm better than you, or whatever. And I'm there going, do you know what? It doesn't matter. Just lift, do what you want, lift, be the body shape, size, wear what you want. If you want to wear a thong, great, go with it. I've got a great bum now, so in case my job ever dries up, OnlyFans, that's what I'm going for. But it's why on my videos, like, I don't I speed up my videos, obviously Instagram and stuff, but like I don't airbrush them to get rid of like my cellulite, and like, I'm a size 6 in women's clothes. I'm tiny, still have cellulite, still have excess skin, still have those things, and that's all great. Like, that's fine. I don't, if I get comments on, oh, my arse is out, so yeah, because it turns out when I'm squatting, my arse is out. Do you know what I mean? Get with it. That's with the times. And it's like, if you want to take, as long as people are informed and they do everything and do it to the most safe and everything environment, let's just let everyone crack on and do what they want. And if someone has, I may have an advantage that, for me, with an overhead, being small, it's not as far to go, is it? So let's be frank, I have that advantage for that event. But for someone else who's like 6 foot tall, of course they can pick up a frame and run with it, because suddenly it's up here. But that's the nature of the sport. Strategize, do it, but enjoy it. Stop judging. So that's my thing. Of sometimes you go to comps and stuff, and people will do like, and I think it's because I'm not a competitor that I'm a bit of a tit, that I sometimes have seen, and it's not even at my comps, like I see it with the men's comps, like my husband has started doing it, and you see some of like, I'm gonna call it shithousery, and I'm like, look, just get on, just do what you want. Do you know what I mean? no judgment, just lift and do your own thing, and
Yeah.
just have a chill, and that's, I suppose that's my low sometimes. I don't want it to lose what it's so beautiful about it.
Mm-hmm.
The circus element, the fun, the strength. I want to say the show offness, the beauty, all these different shapes and sizes. That's what Strongman and Strongwoman was about. It was almost like being a bit of a show, but in its own
Yeah.
accepting way, and I don't want that to get lost in its kind of growth, if you will, as it's
Yeah.
clearly growing very quickly. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of, I want to say hello because I might see a trajectory that it's going in. So don't remember your past and don't forget who's walked before you.
Mm-hmm.
Your Donnas, your Andrew, all those people who did it in car parks, who did it in muddy fields, who, I get the luxury if I turn up to events and there's warm-up kit that's pretty much matching and everything.
Yeah.
Sam's told me like they turned up in a field and how they didn't break an ankle. It was surprisingly, and didn't put, um, I think Sam had to in order to compete, she even had to do the men's at one point because there wasn't really a women's one.
Yeah.
So it's remember the history and remember how it's got here and be really grateful for those that have walked before you
Mm-hmm.
to give you the opportunity you've got now. So don't go judging now. Let's all build each other up and just make it even better and become, like I said, those strong women that hold each other up and move it forward. So again,
Yeah.
I've got a bit feminist, so sorry, Becca, it's turned
No,
into a feminist
I
podcast.
fucking
But
love
that's
that.
what I
Don't
want
worry.
I want us all to be supportive, and it's what I've had. I got my Sunday crew. I turn up to OSG. People have been really friendly and supportive from where I've competed and things on Instagram. It doesn't mean you don't see some of the other stuff and people sniping at each other and things. And I'm like, look,
Yeah.
just do your own thing then. Just if you want to do a comp doing that, and you want to do a comp doing that, and you want to do this, and you want people who are natty and this, that, and the other, fine. But people can just choose, and let's just chill and just enjoy it and lift some heavy shit.
100%. I totally agree. I'm very much a person of like, if it doesn't directly affect me, I don't really fucking care. Like,
Yeah.
and I do use that unfortunately in a lot of my life, which is why I don't get
Yeah.
involved in politics hardly ever, because I just think it doesn't directly affect me right now, so I
No.
just don't fucking care. But I do
Yeah.
think sometimes in strongman that can be like, it's quite a relevant point. And like, especially so just recently, obviously the Natties introduced all the new like Trump option weight thing, didn't
Yeah, and
they?
I
Have
think
you
that's
seen
really
that?
good. Yeah, that's really
Same.
exciting to open it up to people, and particularly
100%.
with people who. So with me, I may be better at an overhead, so I have the opportunity to push my overhead, and that's the point of a comp. Is I want to be able to push. When I
Yeah.
did weightlifting, for example, I get to pick my weight, so I could pick a banker, a middle one, and then a shit or bust one, right? Which
Yeah.
sometimes a press out one, which sometimes in strong one, I'll go to a comp, they'll go, well, the bar's 150, which, like I said, for me at Wales, I was hoping to get 1, got 5, so here we are. I never know what you're going to be able to do with the adrenaline.
Yeah.
But knowing that but then if I knew that, I've only really got to like 140 in training, I want to make sure I get one, or I want to go for reps instead of going, because I haven't peaked for 1 rep max, but I peaked for like my fitness.
Yeah.
It allows people to like play and also play a bit of strategy. Like the strategy's fun, is part of the game, right? Is that
100%.
do you want to go balls to the wall in your deadlift, but then let the sandbags be? Like, I'll be honest with you, that's pretty much my game plan on everything. So I hate a sandbag. I can't stand the sandbag. I just want to stand and lift and then go away, which is like my thing in life, right?
Fair.
Is that I'm probably quite lazy. I'm like short, lazy, and I just want to lift shit to like 1 meter because that's as far as I gotta go, right? I'm, like I said, a lazy person. But yeah, so it allows people to like push on things that they want to peak at, or and if you want to push your farmers to be in 80 kilos per hand, even though you're a 64, good. If that's the one thing you're good at, like my husband, he's got like bucket hands because he played rugby, right? I swear to God, honestly, that man can't do. He gets a bit thing about his deadlift because with the men's, obviously, it's like insane, isn't it? Because it's been going so long. So he gets a bit thing. He's like, I'm not very good, and I always like not do well in the deadlift. Da, da, da. Fast as fuck though. If you put a farmer's in his hand, he can pretty much like lift it and then run it at like more than his deadlift. And I'm like, there's something wrong with you, bro. And he was trying to teach me because I've got like I said, teeny tiny hands. I'm like, how does this work? And he's trying to teach me. But like I said, for some people, that's what they're really good at. So it allows them to push the thing they're good at. So yeah, I'm all for it, and also getting people to just start having a go. Like even if they do the
100%.
first bar, I want to be cheering. And I suppose the other thing I would say is that some of the comps, if I could give them all a lesson learned, that particularly on some of these higher level comps, we don't always understand where people are, because we've got some of the people who've been doing it for years, and obviously they come out and they rep like 170 deadlift, and they're like, yeah. For some of us, like I said, I'm turning up, and I got to be honest, to Ben Glasscock in the last one and Claire Myler and Claire's like a legend, isn't she? So, and I made it really clear in my thing that, look, if I come out and zero stuff, I want you to make it really clear on the commentating that I'm having fun, that I'm pushing myself, that I don't want people to go, oh, poor her, she can't lift it. I want it to be, I'm having fun, I'm really pushing myself, I've trained really hard and do it. So it's sometimes nice to see that, like, where people are progressing, like this is a PB, so let's all get behind them. And like it could be that it is the second bar, but if that's a PB for them, that's what we should be shouting, not whether they can win and not whether they can get points. It's actually, is that the thing they're going for? Yeah, they're going for a 140 deadlift. It's the first time they've ever pulled it. Let's go mental! Like that's kind of, I've never picked up a 60 bag before. Someone picks up a 60 bag and runs with it. They may only get it to their lap, but that's a PB. And if you see that that's the PB, you're like, yes, that's what I want. I don't really get, like, the ones who can run it up and down, fine, you crack on. But I like to know what some people are getting to, because I like to see that grit and determination, someone just trying hard and having the outcome. And I think sometimes that's hard to come across because we don't know all the athletes. It's like at OSG, Worlds, we don't get to see that. And I don't know how we conquer that, because I know you can't know everyone's information and it's really hard. But it's one of those, and it's like I said, weightlifting's different, because usually how your lifts work, you know, the last one, if they've got the first two, is usually going for a PB. So usually everyone knows the way. But it's trying to work out how we do it, because I think to celebrate those wins are far more important, in my opinion, because
100%.
Again, so how we get that across. So sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No, absolutely fine. No, I totally agree with you, and I think it'll be better with the way that they've set up Natural Strongman for next year by doing that, because I think it's a really innovative way. But going back to the point we made before of people being shithouses, people were trying to bitch and moan about that, and we're just like, just fuck off.
Yeah,
fuck off.
Just don't do it then. If it means something, just shut your mouth and don't bother with it. If it means that much of a bother to you, like, do you know what? I've got bigger problems in the world, like my mortgage and everything. I got shit I got to deal with. Them getting worried about, oh, there's an extra bar. I'm like, oh, I can crack on there.
If you're going to be offended because Natural Strongmen have tried to make it more accessible for more people, then you're not in the sport for the right reasons. Get fucked.
No.
Get fucked.
But I would say, can Natural Strongman bring back a stone, like a proper stone? Because I do miss it.
I wish.
I do miss it, because I do miss a bit of the circus animal or truck. Something a bit silly, because I get, not that they're going to listen, I'm a nobody, right? But what I'm trying to say is, like, they do the sandbag, and I get because of where they do it in halls and everything else, and there's health and breaking of things. I get that. But I think for me, some of the contests, and this isn't a slight, like I said, I want it to be as inclusive, and you're not going to get every stone and everything else. So I'm being really cognizant here. But I want, like I said, going back to my other point, I want Strongwoman to sometimes be the circus element, and sometimes that gets, like, to go and do a truck pull, I got to find the truck pull event. It's not always part of an event, and I just get a bit concerned that it's not become CrossFit-y. I don't want to say,
no,
but like,
I know what you mean though.
I'm trying to
again.
And make sure that it keeps the essence of what it was, which is that kind of circus that maybe the logs would and not a comp spec. Like, and that's not just for Natural Strongman. I mean for anyone doing comps. Like, some of the weird grippy stuff, or the weird dumbbells, or
bring back weird events. That's why.
Bring back weird event, and if you're gonna, It's like the Shaw Classic, right? It's crazy heavy at Brian Shaw's, but I like that he comes up with weird contraptions because they can't go and practice on them for 3 months. They just got to turn up and see whether they're strong enough.
For the best,
I know for the best, and see how it goes. And it's not about whether you've had goes on it at every comp 3 years previous. Someone comes up and they do the bloody keg chest press, they'll get it. And I think that sometimes gets a bit missed,
lost,
because and that's what it is. And I think if you want to do CrossFit, there is CrossFit. So like, I don't want it losing its way, because that's the beauty of it, of the quirkiness and natural stones and stuff. We did natural stones at Wales, and it was good to problem solve and weird shit
Yeah.
onto barrels and all that kind of shit. And like the Apollo wheels, it looks it looks a bit, it weighs the same, but like, it looks a bit fancy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like it. I like to be a show off. That's what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. My favourite ever event, I've said this so many times on the podcast, people be sick of hearing it, but my favourite event ever in Strongman was a salmon toss, which was done
Ooh,
at
nice.
Alaska's Strongest Woman like fucking years ago. I didn't do it, like I'd just seen it and
But
it's
to look- yeah.
stuck in my head forever, and it was just a giant rubber salmon that they had to throw as far as they could. And ever since I saw it, I was like, that's
Yeah.
Strongman for me. That's the shit I want to be doing. I don't want to be
Yeah.
fucking about with these deadlifts or fucking like boring fucking yoke or whatever. No. Give me fucking salmon toss. That's all I care about.
Yeah, it's like where like Kratos bars and weird bars. Do you know what I mean? Like the longer ones, the elephant. Or if I'd love to have a go at an elephant one, you know, like weird ones. If like I said,
Yeah.
and it's like when people have a go at strongman, like you know, with the deadlift when they grind, like when you kind of hitch it. There we go. That's the word I'm like. I went to say grind it, but hitch it. Well, if you're going to be a purist about a deadlift, go and do powerlifting then. Like there's a sport for that.
Yeah.
This is about getting it done regardless. So like whether you want to do it by this, like I sometimes think Puritans come and go, oh, that's not a proper deadlift. And I'm like, that's not
No
what
one
it's
cares.
for.
Yeah,
no one
that's not the
cares.
point.
If it, like I said, if you're a Puritan, go and do the other one. That's what it's
Yeah.
for. If you're that
Okay.
bothered, again, if you're that bothered by stuff, like don't do it then. Do you know what I mean? Like
words to live by. I feel like words to fucking live by. Nah, class.
And welcome to my TED talk, everyone.
No worries. Right.
I'm all about being inclusive. That's the thing. Inclusive and just
Oh, yeah.
kind and compassionate. And I think that's the point, isn't it? Kind, compassionate, bit of fun, bit of joking. I will say I do have a tendency to have a pint at the end. I'm not condoning drinking alcohol after a comp, but I have realised that a lot of comps is. I literally went on the thing at Wales, and because I didn't realise I'd come second. So that was the other thing. I went to the bar next door when I got a pint because I didn't realise what I was. I was cracking on, and then they were like, right, and in third place, and in second place, and I was like, oh shit, that's me, and I've like got a pint, and I've got to walk. I was like, epitome of health, everyone. Hello, like I'm just enjoying my IPA.
Andrea Thompson did the world's podium, OSG world's podium with a rum.
Nice. I'm all for that. I'm all for just do all you do. You do you. You do you. If you want to turn up with, like I said, an energy drink, or like I said, there are people, like I said, who are alcohol free for different reasons. If you want to turn up, but with whatever, but you do you. If you want to turn up with a pizza, a burger, go nuts. You know, you be you.
Absolutely. I love that. Right. Let's move on to the final question then. So what would you say to yourself when you first started the sport?
Do it more full time than I did. I was trying to hybrid. So where I was trying to do the weightlifting and this, I was trying to like peak and everything with different sports. And I was lucky that in terms of like weight making, that the 64 fell with like my weightlifting, which was like 59 to the 64. I know they changed it in Olympic weightlifting. So it wasn't the like weight cut. That's the thing, I've never had to rip this. The first time I'm going to try and do weight cutting, I'm meant to be doing a 57 shortly, but that's because I sit at 60, and everyone went, why don't you just try 57 to be a bit competitive? And I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. But I normally just turn up, right, and stand on the scale. All right, I may not eat like until I weigh in that morning, just to be like super sensible. But like fundamentally, I'm always in weight, really. I'm not a thing, right? So it was trying to do two different things. Although they benefit each other, it was really hard to do. And now that I've fallen in love with it, I wish I'd kind of really committed to it, because I feel like I could have been even further than I am now, considering the short space of time. But then, you know, I just love strength training generally. Like maybe one day I'll do some bodybuilding. Maybe one day I'll do, you know, maybe I'll go and do CrossFit, go back to Olympic weightlift. I just generally like going to the gym. So if I was to tell my older self is find it sooner, but you don't know until you know, do you? So can't really, it's always hindsight. And I think, do you know what? Now that you found it, perhaps I haven't ruined my body as much, so maybe I'll last a bit longer, you know, go into it a bit later. So maybe the wear and tear won't happen till a bit later, which means I can do it till a lot later. And maybe I might be a good masters in the future. I don't know. And, you know, but that's the other thing of, I'm just glad I found it, I think. And almost like maybe a pat on the back to myself. You went and did it that was out of your comfort zone. Granted, you were a bit drunk when you signed up to it. And look what's happened, and just enjoy the ride. And you never know where your life's going to lead you to. Like I said, when I first lost the weight, I never thought I'd compete at anything, and then never mind going to something like Brits. So, and this is I'd say a mantra to anyone: you can't plan 5 years from now because you're never going to know. But start walking in a direction, and then see which path you end up on, and then say yes or no, and usually try and say yes, because it's, I usually say you'll regret what you don't do rather than what you do, and you'll learn a lot more from kind of tripping and failing.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. You win or you learn. That's what I say all the time. You win or you learn. Like, that's all it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's all lessons.
Hell yeah, I love that. Right, well, we'll end on that very good piece of advice then, and we'll move on to the final part of the podcast, everybody's favourite, the silly goose.
Silly goose.
Ha ha.
It's silly goose time, where our lips get loose and our minds run free. Silly goose.
Ha ha.
It's silly goose time, where we chat a load of shit that's of absolutely no use. It's silly goose time.
Ha ha.
Yeah.
So, do you have a silly goose you'd like to bring to the table?
I don't, but I don't want you changing the song. So just to clarify, I know you talked about that in the previous podcast. You were like, do I have someone record it? I love it. I really love it that you kind of go silly good. I really like it. So I know my vote may not go for much, but all I'm saying is when you do it, I really like it. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. I think it's unique.
I do like the song. I really like the song. I know some people, it's not their favourite part, and some people really don't like it, but I do really like the song. But I just think a little bit of a vibey jam underneath it. I don't want to change the vibe.
Oh, you should do something Eurovision style with it.
Yeah,
I love Eurovision. Just to clarify, if anyone comes onto my thing, Eurovision is my jam, right? I'm the campest person ever if it comes to Eurovision. I love it. But yeah, let's Eurovision it and then take it to Eurovision.
I just think a bit of a jazzy jam behind it would just zhuzh it up a
bit
bit.
of a vibe.
I don't want to change it too much because I love it, but
I'll allow that. I'll allow that, Becca. That's fine.
Okay, right. Thank you, Fab. Perfect. Well,
so no, I haven't got anything specific. Sorry, see, I'm gonna have to leave it over to you if that's all right.
That's okay. That's fine. I have one which I just thought of. I thought of it this morning, and I write them all down because otherwise they just leave my brain as soon as I think them.
Okay.
But so my question for you is: would you rather have otter hands, so otter's hands, or duck feet?
Oh, wow.
It's a conundrum, isn't it?
It is a conundrum.
Because you either pretty much lose all functionality of your hands, or you're never wearing shoes again.
I think I'd be happy. Right, I'm going to go with duck feet. Hear me out, right? Wow. Because I think, one, I'll have more to press off, so maybe I might be better at deadlifting, right? I think that, because there's a bit more surface area. I'd be good at swimming, because obviously they do the paddle, so I think there's an extra bit with that. Two, I wouldn't need shoes. I know I don't spend a lot on shoes because I've got small feet, but even more money saving in this current time of cost of living, right? So that's grand. And I would like a bit of a waddle. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine carrying a sandbag and waddling? That's going to be a lot more fun, isn't it? Than all right, I may do the hands, but imagine that'd be comical at a strongman event. Pick up the thing, waddle across. It'd be great. Agree. So I'm going to go with the duck feet. That's what I'm going for.
I like that. Yeah. To be fair, I have exactly the same thoughts as you because a bonus for swimming. Don't really care about wearing shoes anyway, and to be honest, I'm fucking barefoot all the time anyway. My feet are so wide at this point, they're fucking basically flippers. But yeah,
and I do like wild swimming, so it would make it easier. I'll just get in ponds and stuff and just kind of
exactly. And maybe the ducks would think you were one of them too, so you'd be friends with them. Which would always be ideal. For
It'd be like Strongwoman Snow White.
Yeah, calling the ducks to you with your feet. Come to me, children.
Come by, come hear the tales of Strongwoman. The ducks will be like, what are you on about? So this is how my brain works. It's a bit mental.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And also, I fucking hate otters. Big time. Least favourite
never.
Thing. Bin with otters. So, to be honest, it wasn't even a decision in my mind. I was always going to pick, regardless of whether the duck feet worked or not, I would have picked duck feet because fuck otters, man. They are creepy.
Do you find it really creepy?
Yeah.
I find a platypus quite creepy. I find it's like someone had a breakdown when they created it. Do you know what I mean? If
Yeah.
evolution was, it was like someone just went, you know the bit in Toy Story with the Mr. Potato Head and you put bits together?
Yeah.
I imagine that was the platypus, that someone went, oh, you know all these bits we shoved together made an animal, that'll work.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the platypus, if I'm honest.
I just feel like platypuses they're not bothered though, are they? They're just like chilling
No.
all the time. Like
No.
they're happy to be what they are. Whereas I think otters, they've got a bit of fucking edge. They think there's something cool. And you're like, because everyone fucking loves them so much. They're just a bit full of themselves, aren't they?
My favourite is a penguin, so that probably, penguins are my thing. I love a penguin. Penguin are like my favourite animal in the world. And especially the ones with, you know, like the cool kind of quiff thing. They have like, if you're going to have a punk rock hairstyle, let's go penguin style. That's what I say. So actually my husband's booked me to go to like where they like rehab them and like you go and feed them and stuff and look after them for the day. So I'm probably free labour, but that's like my ideal. But yeah, so penguins are mine. So it probably makes sense with the feet kind of thing. So like I said, I like how they waddle and it's a bit silly. So that's me. But I do like kind of all weird animals. So like my husband finds it funny that I like lynxes, like something that kill you. When we've gone to like America and went like in the mountains, you have to do. So on about when Tatiana was on. So Tatiana's there because met her and she's amazing. And her attitude's just incredible. I love it.
Yeah,
And she was talking about the bear. So when we were in America, you have to like, so I had my backpack on. So we're going to the national park, but you have to like so in Canada, you have bear spray, which you're meant to have bear spray. And they were trying to explain to us common people who obviously haven't, you know, the most thing I have in Wales is a sheep runs up to me. Like, that's about as scary as it gets. And they have the bears and stuff. They're like, right, you do this with the thing. But if you make enough noise, they go away. So it's me like clanging up the mountain. You're making as much noise, singing. I reckon they do this to like wind you up, right? Because you're there and you're like singing and talking really loud. So the bears won't come at you because apparently that puts them off. And I'm like, I don't think it does. And then like you have the marmots and everything else. So I do like my kind of weird, quick, I had like chipmunks running on me at one point. So yeah, perhaps I'm like a strong woman, Snow White. Maybe that's what. Perhaps I'll change that instead of Robo Strong Woman. Snow White.
Survive.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe.
That's your trajectory now in Strong Woman.
Yeah, I'm more of the Seven Dwarfs based on my height, but it turns out I might can be quite grumpy and a bit like stupid every so often. So I'm probably every one of them if I'm honest. But I used to work in mines, so again, being Welsh, again, I think the dwarfs suit me. What the Welsh thing, innit? We all were. That's why we're so small. We were all shoved in mine.
Why
tiny.
You fucking 35. What the fuck?
Well, yeah. Well, I wasn't, but my previous generations were. You know, it's not helping my my genetics, is it?
Oh
no, not me.
No. I was like, hang on a minute.
No,
I'm confused here.
I've got a really good surgeon. If that was the case, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm still rocking it. But yeah, so I do like kind of my weird animals, if you will, that go to places and different things. And I do like kind of go around and finding weird animals and going up to them. And my husband's like, oh Christ, like we're going around like, maybe we'll see a mountain lion in America. And he's like, hopefully we won't. And I'm like, please don't.
This is the problem. Me and my husband are both like this. We're both that person. So it's just, it gets to a point where like we're out and about and there's something and we're like, oh, I reckon I could catch that. All right then. Yeah. I'll race you. Like, we just can't help it. It was so bad.
I'd be friends with it. Like, I can just, like, take it in. Like, it'll be fine then. No.
Yeah, we're way too animally of people. That's how we're fucking
I'm much more animal than people, that's the thing. Even though I'm very supportive of people. Like you said, I'm quite thick. I'm not, like, against people, but I'm a much more animal person kind of thing in terms of looking after stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you on that. Absolutely. Right, well, this has been an absolutely belter episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for being on.
Right.
Where can people find you if they want to follow along and anything that you want to plug or anything like that now's your chance.
Okay, so I don't do any, well, I'm qualified, but I don't do any coaching or anything, so I can't really plug anything. If you want to, like, follow me on Instagram, if we're going to be that, it's Robo Strongwoman. There's everything I put up from wild swimming to my lifting to being an arse, which is quite normal. Me being a tit in the gym where what was I doing the other way? I was hula hooping and drinking my Monster at the same time. So I tried to create a new event as I was going. I swear I take my training as seriously as I can. So yeah, if you want to follow along with that, it's usually, like I said, me camping or going to like quirky places, different things. So it's not just my lifting. I do have a private page where I kind of switch and change.
Yeah.
If I'm going to plug anything, it's not my comp, but in the winter, Cardiff, a gym called Compound. If anyone's in, I know a lot of people already are in Strongwoman, but if you're coaching people and people are new, they've got like a beginners and novice kind of happening. There's stuff from like different grip events. So they're actually having a grip event. You've got to work your way up, like pinch grip and different things. So they've done it quite quirky. There's an axle deadlift. And all I'm going to say is, and it doesn't have to just be that one. I just say that that's November. So if someone wants to just give it a crack, maybe have a look at it. But if you see any other comps, you haven't got to do it to the level that I've talked about with going to Wales and Brits. But if you know anyone and they want to, and if anyone wants to have a chat with me because they're a bit like, oh, I've never tried and anything, I'm happy to do that. But I'm always about trying to encourage and show people, give any advice. So I'd probably say look up comps and just have a go. Just have a go at one. Just see what it's like. Just, I'm going to win. I'm going to do anything. Just turn up and give it a crack. So I'm just going to sell the comp that happens to be down the road from me, which is run by a great group of guys. They usually have some kind of walk-on music type stuff. There's usually some... So for Wales, we actually had our own walk-on music each, which was amazing. And we got to all do the thing, and it was a big kind of... They made it quite a party thing as well. So they do make a really good vibe, and it's all part of kind of the fun and crack. So just give it a go. Just have a look what's around. It just, like I said, it happens to be at Christmas. So, do you know what? Train for it and then have a good old time at Christmas. That's why it works out in being November. So,
hell yeah. Hell yeah. We love that. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It has been an absolute joy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Right. And we will see you all on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Strongwoman Highs, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support the podcast, then please give us a follow on Instagram, or if you would like, we're also on buymeacoffee.com/Strongwoman Highs. This is where you can send us tips, or you can also join our membership area, which is $5 a month or £4 a month. It's the silly Gosling level. We'll post out any extra content that we get on there, and hopefully a few little free giveaways of things as well. The podcast currently doesn't cost a lot to run, which is what we're trying to keep it as. But we would like to be able to cover our costs, and also once those costs are covered, any profit that is made on Strongwoman Highs will be getting saved up and put into a pot for future Strongwoman competitions that we can sponsor. So if you have a Strongwoman competition that you'd like to be sponsored, or if you want to be on the podcast, then give us a shout, send me a message on Instagram or on YouTube, anywhere else you can get us, and we'll get it sorted, because the more women that we can get on, the better. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye!